Confidence is often described as the silent force that shapes how people perceive us, how we interact with others, and how we move through challenges. When we witness someone standing strong in the face of opposition, refusing to flinch or back down, it leaves an impression that resonates far beyond that moment. Confidence is not just about speaking loudly or appearing unshaken, it is about holding firm to your beliefs and expressing them with conviction even when the odds feel stacked against you. In a world where voices compete to be heard, confidence becomes the bridge between silence and influence, between hesitation and impact. It is the quality that separates those who merely survive confrontation from those who transform it into a defining moment of power. Think about moments when individuals have been challenged in public spaces. A person lacking confidence tends to shrink, their words stumble, their body language betrays their fear, and their message loses its weight. On the other hand, a confident person stands taller, maintains control of their voice, and delivers their perspective with clarity. That difference is not about talent alone, it is about mindset. Confidence is built from preparation, self-awareness, and the belief that one's perspective has value. When opposition comes, instead of being thrown off balance, the confident person sees it as an arena to showcase strength. They know that every challenge is not a threat, but an opportunity to rise above. In heated debates or confrontations, the power of confidence becomes most visible. Words alone may not carry weight unless they are delivered with assurance. A comeback or response only stings when it is infused with the speaker's unwavering self-belief. People are not just listening to what is being said, they are watching how it is said, measuring the tone, the body language, the pauses, and the conviction. Confidence amplifies every word and turns an ordinary sentence into a powerful statement. It can humiliate an opponent not through insult, but through the undeniable dominance of composure. To remain calm when another person loses their control is itself a victory. Confidence also has the remarkable ability to silence doubt, not only in others but also within ourselves. Often, the greatest opposition comes from the inner voice that whispers fear and hesitation. It tells us that we are not good enough, not prepared enough, not strong enough to handle the pressure. Confidence is the antidote to that inner critic. It builds a shield that prevents self-doubt from dictating our actions. When someone has nurtured genuine confidence, they step into the spotlight not with trembling nerves but with steady determination. They remind themselves that every voice deserves to be heard, and that their truth holds weight even when others try to diminish it. History is filled with examples of figures who changed the course of events simply because they carried confidence into hostile spaces. They were not always the loudest or the most aggressive, but they were firm, collected, and sure of themselves. Their presence was enough to shift energy in a room. Confidence, when exercised correctly, does not need arrogance. It is not about belittling others, it is about elevating yourself to a place where outside noise cannot destabilize your message. Even in humiliation attempts, a confident individual has the ability to turn the tables, making their opponent's attack look weak and desperate. One of the fascinating aspects of confidence in the face of opposition is how it inspires others. When people witness someone stand firm, they begin to believe that they too can hold their ground. Confidence is contagious. A single act of courage can ignite courage in the hearts of many. Watching someone handle an attack with poise and strength reminds us that human beings are capable of far more than they give themselves credit for. In moments where others expect weakness, delivering confidence instead shocks the audience and rewrites the entire dynamic. That shock factor is what makes comebacks legendary, because it shows a refusal to be silenced. Building confidence requires practice and intention. It is not something that appears overnight, it is cultivated through experiences where we push past discomfort and test our limits. Every time we step into a difficult situation and choose not to back down, we add another layer to our confidence. Slowly, the fear of opposition diminishes, and we begin to see it as part of the journey rather than an obstacle. Confidence grows when we remember past victories, even small ones, and use them as proof that we can face the next challenge. This process transforms self-doubt into self-assurance and prepares us to rise even higher the next time opposition comes. Another critical element of confidence is authenticity. Pretending to be confident may last for a moment, but genuine confidence rooted in authenticity is unshakable. People can sense when someone truly believes in their words versus when they are simply trying to appear strong. Authentic confidence comes from aligning words with values, actions with beliefs, and speech with integrity. It is what allows a person to look their opponent in the eye without wavering, because they are not defending a facade, they are defending their truth. Authentic confidence also earns respect, even from those who disagree, because it demonstrates courage and sincerity. The psychology of confidence in opposition also reveals a powerful dynamic. When one person projects strength and composure, it often destabilizes their challenger. Opposition thrives on weakness, on cracks in the armor that can be exploited. But when those cracks are sealed by confidence, the opponent begins to falter. They may become flustered, raise their voice, or lose control, while the confident person remains steady. This contrast magnifies the humiliation of the opponent, not because they were directly attacked, but because their lack of composure exposed them. In this way, confidence becomes a mirror that reflects weakness in others. Confidence also serves as a form of protection. When under scrutiny, those who lack confidence are easily swayed, interrupted, or dismissed. But someone who carries confidence commands attention and demands respect without even asking for it. Their voice is not easily ignored, and their presence forces others to listen. This protective power is crucial in environments where opposition is relentless. Confidence creates boundaries that opponents cannot cross, because the confident person does not allow themselves to be reduced. It is the ultimate defense mechanism that shields one's dignity even in the fiercest of confrontations. For anyone striving to embody this kind of strength, the lesson is clear: confidence is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Whether in public speaking, professional settings, or personal relationships, opposition is inevitable. People will challenge, criticize, and attempt to undermine. The question is not whether we will face opposition, but how we will respond. With confidence, every challenge becomes a platform to showcase resilience. Without it, even small obstacles can feel insurmountable. Confidence gives us the power to control narratives, to shift the energy in our favor, and to walk away with our head held high regardless of the outcome. Confidence in the face of opposition is not about eliminating fear altogether, it is about acting in spite of it. Even the most poised individuals feel pressure, but confidence allows them to channel that pressure into strength. It transforms nervous energy into sharp focus, converting what could have been weakness into a weapon of power. This ability to reframe fear as fuel is one of the hallmarks of true confidence. It ensures that rather than collapsing under the weight of opposition, a person rises to their highest potential at the very moment they are being tested. At its core, confidence is about trust. Trusting oneself, trusting one's preparation, trusting one's voice. When that trust is unshakable, opposition no longer feels like an enemy but like an invitation to prove worth. It becomes the arena in which courage is displayed and respect is earned. People may forget the details of what was said in moments of confrontation, but they never forget how someone carried themselves. Confidence leaves an imprint long after the words fade, reminding everyone present that true strength lies not in avoiding conflict, but in rising to meet it without fear. Turning criticism into an opportunity for strength is one of the most valuable skills a person can develop in life, and it is a defining factor that separates those who are broken by challenges from those who are empowered by them. Criticism will come in many forms, sometimes subtle, sometimes direct, sometimes constructive, and sometimes cruel. No matter how it is delivered, the way we choose to respond determines whether it will weaken us or elevate us. In fact, some of the most remarkable moments of growth in history, leadership, and personal development have come not from praise, but from criticism that pushed people to dig deeper, to reassess, and to come back stronger than ever. Criticism can be the spark that ignites a fire within us, giving us the drive to refine our skills, sharpen our perspective, and prove to ourselves and the world that we are not defined by the judgments of others. It is natural to feel defensive when someone criticizes us. Our first instinct is often to shield ourselves, to deny, to argue, or to retreat. But the true power lies in taking that criticism and reframing it, not as an attack, but as information. Information about how we are perceived, about where we can improve, and about what challenges we need to face head-on. When we see criticism this way, it becomes less of a personal blow and more of a tool for growth. Even the harshest words can carry insights if we are willing to search for them. The difference between those who stagnate and those who evolve often comes down to this perspective. One sees criticism as a barrier, the other as a stepping stone. In moments of confrontation, criticism can feel overwhelming, especially if delivered in front of others. It can sting, not only because of the words themselves but because of the exposure. Yet even in such moments, there is strength to be found. A poised response to criticism demonstrates resilience and character. It shows that the individual is not easily rattled, that they can withstand the storm and still stand tall. This ability does more than just deflect negativity, it transforms the critic's power into your own. When someone attempts to diminish you and you respond with clarity, confidence, and composure, the impact is magnified. The criticism becomes a platform from which you rise higher than before, leaving both your opponent and the audience stunned by your ability to turn weakness into strength. There is also a psychological advantage in embracing criticism. Those who take criticism as fuel often outperform those who crave constant approval. Praise may feel good, but it rarely teaches us where we can improve. Criticism, on the other hand, points directly to areas of potential growth. It challenges us to confront blind spots, to acknowledge shortcomings, and to push past comfort zones. If received with the right mindset, criticism becomes the raw material from which excellence is built. It toughens the skin, strengthens the will, and sharpens the mind. Rather than fearing it, those who succeed learn to welcome it, understanding that every piece of feedback, whether fair or unfair, has something to offer in the journey of self-mastery. Consider how many innovators, leaders, and visionaries were once ridiculed for their ideas. They faced waves of criticism, skepticism, and even mockery. Yet instead of surrendering, they transformed those voices of doubt into motivation. Every negative word became a reminder of why they had to keep going. They used criticism as proof that they were onto something significant, something disruptive enough to challenge the status quo. If they had let criticism crush them, the world would have lost countless breakthroughs. Their strength was not in avoiding criticism but in transforming it into fuel for persistence and creativity. Criticism also tests our emotional control. It forces us to manage anger, insecurity, and pride. When someone throws words meant to cut deep, the easy response is retaliation. But retaliation rarely brings respect. What earns respect is discipline, the discipline to absorb the sting, to filter the words, and to decide consciously how to respond. This discipline is not weakness, it is strength in its highest form. To master the ability to stay calm under criticism is to demonstrate to the world that no one else's words have the power to control you. That mastery leaves a lasting impression, often more powerful than the content of the criticism itself. Another important dimension of criticism is its role in building resilience. Resilience is not born in comfort, it is forged in discomfort. Every critical remark, every rejection, every harsh judgment is like resistance in a workout. Just as muscles grow stronger when they are pushed against weight, character grows stronger when pushed against criticism. Over time, what once would have crushed you becomes something you can handle with ease. Each experience hardens your resolve, teaching you that you can endure, adapt, and rise. That resilience becomes a shield that makes future criticism less damaging and more constructive. It no longer shakes you, it fuels you. There is also a deeper lesson hidden within criticism, the opportunity to practice humility. Not all criticism is unfounded. Sometimes it highlights truths we may not want to see. By humbling ourselves enough to admit that we can learn even from our critics, we gain an edge. Humility allows us to listen instead of dismiss, to reflect instead of react. It does not mean we accept every word as fact, but it means we remain open to growth. Those who let humility guide them often turn criticism into lessons that accelerate their journey toward mastery. In this sense, humility and confidence go hand in hand. Confidence gives us the strength to face criticism, while humility gives us the wisdom to use it. Criticism also teaches us about endurance in public perception. In the age of instant communication, one harsh word, one viral comment, one public critique can feel devastating. But the reality is that people rarely remember criticism as vividly as we do. What they do remember is how we respond. If we crumble, the criticism defines us. If we stand tall, the criticism fades while our resilience shines. This truth is empowering because it means that even when others try to write our story with their judgments, we still hold the pen. Our reaction determines the narrative. We have the power to make criticism a footnote instead of the headline. At times, criticism can also serve as motivation to prove others wrong. This motivation, while often underestimated, has fueled some of the greatest comebacks in history. When someone tells you that you cannot achieve something, you are faced with a choice: accept their limitation or defy it. Those who choose defiance transform criticism into a driving force that pushes them beyond what even they thought possible. The sting of doubt becomes the fire of determination. Every setback becomes proof that success will be even more satisfying. The critics, in turn, become silent witnesses to a triumph they once dismissed. But perhaps the most empowering part of turning criticism into strength is realizing that it cannot truly harm you unless you allow it to. Words may sting, but they do not define you. They do not determine your worth or your destiny. They are simply opinions, shaped by the perspectives, biases, and limitations of others. Once you internalize this truth, criticism loses its power to control you. Instead of fearing it, you begin to welcome it, knowing that every word, positive or negative, is simply part of the journey. In this way, criticism becomes a tool for liberation rather than oppression. The key lies in developing a mindset that seeks opportunity in every challenge. When someone criticizes you, ask yourself, what can I learn here? What can I strengthen? How can I turn this into momentum? This shift in perspective transforms criticism from a weapon against you into a weapon for you. Suddenly, every critic becomes an unintentional teacher, every attack becomes a training ground, every rejection becomes redirection towards something greater. This perspective does not erase the discomfort of criticism, but it ensures that the discomfort is never wasted. It is converted into growth, into wisdom, into unshakable strength. When we look at criticism this way, we begin to see that it is not our enemy but our ally. Without criticism, we risk complacency. Without challenge, we risk weakness. Criticism, in its many forms, is the pressure that molds raw potential into refined strength. It demands that we confront our vulnerabilities, sharpen our edges, and rise to levels we might never have reached on our own. It teaches us endurance, humility, composure, and determination. Most of all, it gives us the chance to prove, time and again, that we are stronger than the words thrown at us. Owning your voice as the ultimate tool of influence is about more than simply speaking. It is about embracing the power that lies in your words and allowing them to shape the world around you. Every person has a voice, but not everyone chooses to use it. Some hold back out of fear of judgment, some silence themselves because they feel unworthy, and others simply underestimate the impact they can make. Yet history and personal experience show us that when someone fully owns their voice, when they step into their truth without hesitation, their influence becomes undeniable. Words have the power to inspire, to challenge, to heal, to disrupt, and to transform, and the difference between those who are forgotten and those who leave a lasting mark often comes down to whether they chose to speak with authority or remained silent. Owning your voice begins with the recognition that it is unique. No one else has lived your life, felt your experiences, or carried your perspective. That uniqueness is not a weakness, it is a strength. Too often, people compare their voices to others, believing that they must sound like someone else to be heard. But the truth is that authenticity resonates louder than imitation. A voice that is truly owned does not try to conform, it dares to stand apart. It is unapologetic, unwavering, and rooted in self-belief. When a person owns their voice, they no longer ask for permission to speak, they no longer wait for validation, they simply step forward and let their words carry weight. The ultimate tool of influence is not volume, but conviction. Owning your voice means speaking with such clarity of purpose that people feel your words beyond the surface. It is not about shouting down opposition, it is about speaking in a way that commands attention without demanding it. Influence is created when people not only hear what you say but also feel compelled to reflect on it, to question their own views, and to reconsider their assumptions. This kind of impact comes only when you are aligned with your words, when you believe deeply in what you are saying, and when you present it without fear of contradiction. Opposition will always test the strength of your voice. People may dismiss, interrupt, or mock, but owning your voice means refusing to let those reactions shake you. It means continuing to speak with the same composure and determination even when others try to silence you. This act of defiance, of choosing not to be muted by external forces, is what makes your voice influential. Those watching see not only what you say but how you handle being challenged, and it is often in those tense moments that your influence grows the most. The refusal to back down sends a powerful message that your voice cannot be taken from you, that it belongs fully to you and you alone. Owning your voice also means recognizing its responsibility. Words are powerful tools, and when used carelessly they can harm just as much as they can heal. To truly own your voice is to wield it with intention, to understand that every sentence can shape the thoughts and feelings of others. This awareness creates a sense of accountability, reminding us that influence is not about manipulation but about purpose. People are drawn to those who speak not just to be heard, but to bring value, to inspire, to uplift, or to challenge in ways that lead to growth. Influence built on authenticity and responsibility lasts far longer than influence built on noise and provocation. Throughout history, the voices that have shifted societies and cultures were often those of individuals who refused to stay silent in the face of pressure. They owned their voice even when it came at great cost, and because they spoke, others found the courage to do the same. Owning your voice creates ripples. When one person speaks boldly, others realize that they too can stand up, and suddenly the power of one voice multiplies into a movement. This ripple effect is what makes owning your voice not just a personal victory but a collective gift. By stepping into your power, you give permission for others to do the same. The journey of owning your voice is also about silencing the inner critic. The loudest opposition is often not external, but internal. Doubts creep in, fears whisper that you will be judged, insecurities tell you that your words are not enough. To own your voice, you must confront those voices and decide that they do not define you. Self-doubt is natural, but it cannot be allowed to dictate silence. Each time you choose to speak despite fear, you strengthen your ownership of your voice. Over time, that courage grows, and what once felt terrifying becomes natural. Your voice becomes not only a tool of influence but also a declaration of your resilience. Owning your voice also requires consistency. It is not enough to speak boldly once. True influence comes from showing up again and again, letting your words reflect your values across time and situations. Consistency builds trust. People come to know what you stand for, and that reliability enhances the weight of your words. When your voice is aligned with your actions and your principles, your influence extends beyond moments of speech into the very fabric of how you live. It becomes clear that your voice is not just rhetoric, but a reflection of who you are. That integrity deepens the impact, ensuring that your influence endures. Another important aspect of owning your voice is the ability to adapt without losing authenticity. Influence requires reaching people where they are, which often means adjusting how you communicate. Owning your voice does not mean being rigid, it means being flexible while remaining true to your core. It is about finding the right words for different audiences, the right tone for different situations, the right timing for different contexts. Adaptability ensures that your message resonates widely, while authenticity ensures that it never loses its truth. This balance is what allows a voice to travel far and touch many. Owning your voice is also an act of empowerment against those who try to diminish it. In many environments, certain voices are deliberately ignored, silenced, or undervalued. To own your voice in such spaces is to resist erasure. It is to claim your right to be heard even when others would prefer you stay quiet. This act of ownership is radical because it asserts that your perspective matters just as much as anyone else's. It disrupts dynamics of power and forces recognition. In this sense, owning your voice is not only about personal empowerment but also about challenging systems that thrive on silence. At the heart of influence lies connection. People are influenced not just by logic but by emotion, by stories, by relatability. Owning your voice allows you to connect authentically because you are not hiding behind masks or imitations. You are offering your real self through your words, and that honesty resonates deeply. People may forget facts, but they rarely forget how someone's words made them feel. When you own your voice, you have the ability to touch people in ways that statistics and arguments alone cannot. That emotional connection is what creates loyalty, inspiration, and transformation. Owning your voice also means being unafraid of imperfection. Many hesitate to speak because they fear stumbling, misspeaking, or being misunderstood. But influence does not require perfection, it requires presence. People connect more to real voices than flawless ones. Authenticity shines through vulnerability, and when you own your voice, you embrace both your strengths and your flaws. You recognize that mistakes are part of communication, but silence is far more costly. By speaking imperfectly yet boldly, you model courage for others, proving that influence does not demand flawlessness. It demands bravery. In every arena of life, whether personal, professional, or public, your voice is your identity made audible. It is how you claim space, how you establish presence, and how you leave legacy. Owning it fully means no longer minimizing yourself to make others comfortable, no longer censoring truth to avoid discomfort, no longer doubting whether your words have value. They do. Influence does not come from waiting for the right moment. It comes from deciding that the moment is now, that your voice matters now, that the world needs to hear it now.